Okay, so for our problem, we did sexual misconduct. I'm Ellie.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Cam.
I'm Eric.
I'm Rakesh.
I'm Rosa.
Okay, so an overview of what we did is basically sexual misconduct is any unwelcoming sexual manner. And so what we will be discussing is the types, the lack of education, where it is most likely to happen, the neurobiology behind it, the effects, movements, and our solution. So the types. So sexual harassment is basically any advanced sexual advancements toward another person. Sexual abuse / assault is rape, molestation, or anything that falls under it. Sexual exploitation is exploiting someone through technology, exploiting someone to a sexually transmitted disease, or exploiting anyone through any sexual manner. Sexual violence, which is forcing something sexual onto another person. Stalking, which is any unwanted or unwelcoming attention. And sexual incapacitation, which is basically when you can't give consent because you are unconscious or drugged.
One of the problems we have is that in our school system, we have a lack of education of topics like this. Students aren't very educated on the types of misconduct that are available, the lines that are not to be crossed, and how to behave and be respectful to their fellow peers. Oftentimes when it is reported to local authority or administration, it's usually pushed off because it's seen as sometimes a cry wolf, and they don't attend to it properly, and people feel. And so when that happens, people still feel scared and embarrassed to tell anyone because they fear that it's just going to make them look bad, and that nothing will properly be done.
Okay, so here we pulled the chart from refinery29.com. They have an entire article with factual information from with both male and female reports on sexual misconduct in different places. So we have private homes, residences, we have public establishments, places that we go every day. We have online incidents, there's online predators constantly trying to exploit people, and we have a lot of issues in school as well.
Alright, neurobiology. So how the brain finds dangers in an environment is it tags the amygdala and the fear circuitry in your brain, tags certain objects or people in a room, and then once that object does a surprise attack or like a rape, then your body releases norepinephrine and dopamine, which causes you to freeze, and this leads you to observe your environment, see what dangers, it pretty much see what's going on and see if you're okay. And this is like the most identifiable thing for rape and just sexual assault, because anyone who has that would have this freeze when someone who is faking it or it's not to that degree wouldn't have this.
The effects of sexual misconduct. STDs, STIs, depression, which could lead to self-harm, anxiety, which is worrying or feeling anxious or having fear, and guilt, which the victims blame themselves for what happened. And having these, having shame can lead to you isolating yourself from others, not wanting to talk about it, not wanting to open up about your traumatic experiences, and it leaves you unable to trust people the way we can, people that haven't gone through these things. So that's why in therapy it kind of takes a little while to open up, because you never really know who you can talk to.
Movements. There has been a series of movements throughout the years to help and prevent sexual misconduct. Me Too, one of the recent movements, was a viral hashtag on Twitter made by women actresses that wanted to speak up against sexual misconduct. It's on Us was a collaboration with President Obama and the White House to also raise awareness against sexual misconduct. Pullback was made by men and women alike, hoping to end sexual misconduct. All of these movements are made to end sexual misconduct and provide resources for victims of sexual misconduct.
So we kind of have a two-way solution where we want to be able to prevent it first thing, and like I said earlier, the lack of education. The best way to prevent it is to have a program implemented in the school system teaching kids about how to properly behave and how to be respectful of their other peers. And as they go through the grades, they can be taught more of the sensitive aspect of this topic. And another thing we can do is, like Rosin says, keep these movements going and make sure that awareness is always raised and people are always wary of these crimes.
Our solutions, for one of our solutions, we have a 2-strike system. The first strike would be a fee and classes. You have to pay the fee in order to take these classes. If you do not take these classes, you are facing jail time. Also, you have to go to 2 classes per week for a month. So you need to have done 8 classes by the end of the 4-week period. The second strike would be for cases as severe as rape or sexual abuse or sexual violence, immediate jail time, ranging from 2 years to lifetime, depending on how severe the crime is. And minor offenses that are repeated, you will have to pay a greater fee and take more intense classes.
Pros and cons. Pros of this is that it will help prevent sexual misconduct by stopping it before it goes into a whole different level, such as rape or other consequences leading from sexual misconduct. And a con is that it could potentially, people could falsely report people and it could mess up someone's life, or it could people would just run away from the problem.
So in conclusion, it is up to businesses, governments, and different types of establishments, and especially us, to make sure that these types of things don't happen.
Okay. Thank you. Alright, so I'm gonna go left to right. So reflecting on everybody's work, who had the greatest impact to your understanding?
Matthew's research, because I knew about the psychology, but I didn't know into depth like Matthew explained to us, like the certain wires in our brain that trigger for certain events to happen or our responses to our bodies to happen.
Okay. So now that you finish your project, what, if anything, do you consider the gap in your research, and what would make you feel more confident about your conclusion?
Definitely. So this was a very U.S. research-based topic. So definitely, if we don't know much about international standards or what different cultures or beliefs have in this type of subject, so we don't really know how applicable our solution would be from other sides of the world in different countries.
All right. In what way can you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
I think that we could have definitely met up more and rehearsed, because I think that would have definitely helped us in being able to get up here and explain our topic in depth.
Okay. I mean, you.
Me? Probably just do a little bit more research.
Okay. 10. Can you describe an argument from one of your peers' research that made you think differently about the solution?
Yeah, definitely Matthews, because I got a better understanding of like why a lot of times people don't report the incidences and stuff, because they're afraid. And once I like read Matthews' research, I was like, wow, it's not just because they're afraid of being judged, it's the whole thing with the brain. So.
Okay. So in the future, what changes would you make to your group norms, and how do you expect it will improve your next team presentation?
So like things we do repetitively.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say deadlines. Have more deadlines, and actually do the deadlines, and not just go over the deadlines by 2 days and then do it at 2 a.m. that night. That night.
Okay. And what was the strongest counter argument to your solution?
The strongest counter argument. Can you explain what you mean by that question? I'm sorry.
What was your counter argument? Like, what is the best argument against your solution?
I hope.
I think our best argument for our solution was the two-strike system, because even though that there is a system in place, it's not really one that's being followed or one that's being obeyed, if that makes sense. So our system is more strict, and yeah, ours, we just have a more strict system and a system that needs to be followed in order.
Okay.